Chapter 1: The Legendary Fifth Floor Guide. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone, please look at the ancient coffin on the left. It is a precious cultural relic excavated from pit number 9 of Sangxinghui in 2024. It is 3.79 meters long, 0.89 meters wide and about 1 meter high. The material of this coffin is mixed with a large amount of gold. It is a gold coffin. In Hall 2 of the Dadong City Museum, the golden coffin covered with blue rust is protected in a fully airtight reinforced glass room with a 2-meter isolation fence on the side. As a treasure of the museum, it attracts a large number of visitors every year. Zhong Yuan has long been familiar with this coffin. As a commentator, he looks at it every day. Even if it feels novel at first, he loses interest after a long time. He is a sophomore at Shandong University. He uses his free time during winter and summer vacations to work part-time as a docent in a museum. Originally, it was only responsible for the relatively unpopular ancient coin exhibition hall, and could not receive dozens of people a day. Somehow, within a few days of working, the number of visitors to the ancient coin exhibition hall increased 2 or 3 times compared to the previous days. It was mid-July. Students were on summer vacation, so it was normal to be crowded. Zhong Yuan thought so. What he didn't know was that some short videos about him gradually appeared on internet software such as Douyin and Guagua Video. Real shots. The handsome explanation guy from Shanghua Coin Museum. Jimei ladies, the voice of the commentator on the 5th floor of Shanghua is so nice. Full record on the blog, I met the guy by chance in a coffee shop. He is even more handsome than the video. That the highest number of likes for the video exceeds 500,000, which is incomparable to the super popular A-list broadcasters, but its popularity is definitely not low. There is no need to buy tickets to visit the museum, but there is a cake shop and cafe next to the exhibition hall on the 5th floor. Now it's better, because of the chance meeting with the little brother. The business of the deserted restaurant exploded. After discovering the situation, the curator smiled from ear to ear, waved his hand, and asked Zhong Yuan to work overtime. In addition to the 5th floor, he is also responsible for the most popular Hall number 2. After all, next to Hall 2 is a cultural and creative souvenir shop that has been losing money for many years. Zhong Yuan didn't care about these twists and turns. It's not too tiring to work 2 jobs, get 2 salaries, memorize more information about the exhibits, and maintain order in the museum besides explaining. Totally acceptable. With a glance, Zhong Yuan walked towards a girl wearing a floral dress alertly. She had exquisite makeup on her face, a slim and cute figure, and was considered a SpecialAbilities beauty. She had a mobile phone in her hand, and the camera was facing him. What happened to the beauty? Illegal filming must still be stopped, Zhong Yuan said to the girl seriously. This exhibition hall does not allow taking videos and photos. Please put your phone away. At the same time, he pointed to the monitor set in the corner. What I mean is, there is surveillance here, so don't do any tricks. Luo Xiaoyuan's heart skipped a beat and she couldn't help but hold her phone tightly. What bad luck. It was clear that several people on Douyin had successfully taken secret photos. It was her turn and she was discovered just after turning on the camera. Luo Xiaoyuan is a professional Douyin podcaster. With her sweet appearance and sharp store exploration skills, she has millions of fans. She has long been interested in the legendary coin museum guy. As expected, he looks better in person than in the video. Not only is he handsome, but his voice is also nice. Luo Xiaoyuan moved her hand with one hand, skillfully cut away the camera lens, and defended herself. I didn't take a video. I just wanted to record your explanation and listen to it a few times when I go back. After saying that, he generously showed the screen of his phone to Zhong Yuan. Sure enough, there was only one recording software recording something. Zhong Yuan pursed his lips and said nothing. They were filming in the coin museum and he couldn't stop them. When he arrived at the golden coffin, many people took secret photos and put away their mobile phones, but he couldn't do anything. This girl must have wanted to take secret photos just now. Zhong Yuan had no choice but to point to the QR code not far away and said, scan this code and you can see the information and voice introductions of all the exhibits on your mobile phone. Luo Xiaoyuan asked, did you explain it? Zhong Yuan shook his head. It's not me, it's artificial speech synthesis. Luo Xiaoyuan had long known that it was artificially synthesized. when she was in junior high school and high school, she didn't know how many times she came to the museum. She knew clearly that the purpose of asking questions was just to have a few more words with her little brother. His attitude was very kind, so Luo Xiaoyuan asked boldly, "Then can I ask you a few questions?" Speaking. Zhong Yuan thought he was going to ask questions about the exhibits, so he patiently stood beside her in line with the professionalism of a docent. However, Luo Xiaoyuan didn't think about what to ask. She looked up and saw Zhong Yuan's short, shiny black hair. She rolled her eyes and opened her mouth. "Your hair is of good quality. What shampoo do you usually use?" Zhong Yuan's eyes twitched and he answered honestly, "Just ordinary soap." Luo Xiaoyuan was stunned. "Isn't it? Soap. So simple." This is not surprising. If the family's financial situation was good, Zhong Yuan would not go to the museum to work part-time. He also has a younger sister who is a sophomore in high school at a private boarding school, which is very expensive. The parents are away from home on business trips for a long time, and the living expenses remitted once every 6 months are only enough for the brothers and sisters to survive. If they want to live a better life, they have to rely on themselves. Zhong Yuan is usually frugal and saves whatever he can. But he was very generous to his sister and gave her almost all of his living expenses. Girls must be well off, otherwise they are likely to be looked down upon in school. "Do you have any more questions?" Zhong Yuan looked at the exhibition hall and saw that most of the visitors were gone. Strangely, there was no next group of people queuing at the door. The exhibition hall was empty. Luo Xiaoyuan found that there were fewer people and felt that a great opportunity had come. She smiled and said, "You smell so good. What brand of cologne do you use?" This girl's question was very strange and she was a little suspicious. Zhong Yuan's expression gradually became serious and he said, "Floral water. It's not convenient to tell you about my private affairs. Don't ask any more." Luo Xiaoyuan pouted and muttered softly, "If you don't want to ask, then don't ask." She turned her eyes and pointed at the golden coffin and said, "Then, tell me what's in the coffin." Zhong Yuan had a good memory. He spent 2 seconds carefully recalling the information and said, "The golden coffin has never been opened. The coffin lid and the coffin are welded together, without any gaps. Even the most advanced detectors can't detect the scene inside. The state you see is the state when it was unearthed." What a mysterious feeling. Luo Xiaoyuan walked around the coffin, seemingly visiting, but actually not interested at all. Suddenly, she asked quickly, "What shower gel do you use to take a shower?" "Soap." Zhong Yuan was caught off guard by the question. After answering subconsciously, he frowned and said, "Are you done?" Luo Xiaoyuan noticed his displeasure, but she was very confident in her appearance. She also put on a beautiful makeup today. She didn't believe that the little brother could really ignore her. The hem of her skirt turned into a cute trumpet shape. Luo Xiaoyuan turned around suddenly, blinked her big eyes at Zhong Yuan, and smiled. "Okay, the last question. Little brother, do you have a girlfriend?" Zhong Yuan was stunned. Are girls nowadays so bold? If you spend your spare time working part-time, where do you have time to fall in love? He decided to remain silent. At this time, the museum's broadcast suddenly sounded. Due to a temporary fire drill, the museum will be closed in 10 minutes. Please leave the museum as soon as possible. Chapter 2, Nighthawk of the Su Nengzhe Squad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Repeat. Due to a temporary fire drill. Zhong Yuan was confused. I haven't heard of any fire drill today. It's too sudden. Something is wrong. Since the notice said so, you can pack up and leave early. He spread his hands and ignored the cheeky girl's last question. You heard it too. We are about to close. You should leave quickly. Luo Xiaoyuan's eyes lit up. Are you leaving work? Under normal circumstances, the museum closes at 4:30. It's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. That is to say, the little brother has at least an hour of free time. He can invite him to a cafe for afternoon tea or something. Zhong Yuan knew she wanted to make trouble by looking at the girl's expression. If she was stubborn and refused to leave, he would be the one who suffered in the end. Zhong Yuan didn't want to lose this easy and profitable part-time job, so he had to frown and said coldly, "It's about to close." Please leave as soon as possible. As he said that, he decisively took Luo Xiaoyuan's arm and led her out. Oh. Don't pull me, I can walk by myself. Just as the two were dragging their feet, a black explosion-proof transport vehicle quickly approached the museum. The car had a military license plate and drove all the way, unimpeded, and finally stopped at the north gate of the museum. Several people in black tactical uniforms jumped out of the car. One of the young men said to the older man in the team, Captain Lin, the anchor point has been deployed. The museum just contacted and said that all personnel must evacuate within 5 minutes. Captain Lin looked at the time on his watch, his face solemn. Let the people in the museum go faster, and make sure everyone evacuates as soon as possible. The first ruin cave appeared decades ago, and terrifying alien races that had never been seen before continue to pour out of the cave. They cannot communicate, have terrible and powerful power, and have a brutal personality, killing people on sight. If left alone, humans will suffer a devastating blow. Fortunately, the first ruin cave that appeared was not of high level, and the alien races that walked out of the ruin cave could be killed by thermal weapons, and after the death of the alien races, they will leave behind power crystals. Those who successfully absorb the crystals will have the abilities of aliens. Such people are called Su Nengzhe. Half an hour ago, a signal that a yellow-level Su cave was about to appear was detected, and the location was around the museum. Once the Su cave appears, the aliens that come out of the cave must be killed as soon as possible. Until no aliens come out, the cave entrance will automatically close. The few people who came down from the explosion-proof car were the Su Nengzhe team responsible for maintaining the safety of Shandong City, codenamed Nighthawk. Versio is a newcomer who has just joined the Nighthawk team and is responsible for the auxiliary position. The first time she participated in the Su cave suppression operation, all members were present, and she finally saw the team's main attack ace. So young. Should still be in high school. Versio looked at the girl not far away, and her eyes were attracted by the half-human high long sword in her hand. Su Nengzhe is affiliated with the military, and weapons will be issued uniformly after joining. But if you want weapons with better performance, you have to spend your own money to buy them at the Supervision Bureau. Versio had just seen this knife in the product brochure distributed internally a few days ago. It is the latest top-level weapon developed. She couldn't help but say, Zhong Yuan, is the knife in your hand from the Extreme Weapon series of the Supervision Bureau? I remember it costs 800,000. Zhong Yuan is 17 years old this year. She has an oval face and a pair of ponytails. There is a cute doll hanging on her tactical backpack. People who are not familiar with the team's situation will never believe that she is the ace of the Nighthawk team. Before the action, Zhong Yuan is used to checking all the weapons. She is wiping her favorite knife, wiping it for the third time, hearing that Versio seemed to have something to say, her blurred eyes suddenly became sharp. What does it have to do with you? My brother gave me pocket money, I can spend it however I like. In fact, not only the knife in her hand, but also the protective vest she wore and the laser gun on her waist are all valuable self-purchased items. A set of equipment costs at least 1 million, and the price on the black market is even higher. It is indeed not something that ordinary people can afford. Versio was a little embarrassed and said, I just asked, I don't mean anything else. At this time, Captain Lin smoothed things over and said, the weapons of the Supervision Bureau can be exchanged with merit points. The Jidao series is not expensive either. You can buy it with merit points for only 30,000 yuan. It's so much cheaper. No wonder Zhong Yuan can afford it. Versio was delighted and asked, how many merit points are needed for exchange? Captain Lin said tactfully, you'll know when you open the exchange permission. Zhong Yuan had a blank expression and answered directly, 100,000 points. What? Versio exclaimed, if you don't miss the base training every day, you will be given 100 merit points every month. 1,000 points will open the exchange permission. At this rate, how long will it take to accumulate 100,000? Versio looked at Zhong Yuan with a different look immediately. Has she been training since her mother's womb? No, she must have made contributions in the operation of suppressing the ruins cave, which is why she has accumulated so many merit points. If a high school girl can do it, Versio feels that she can do it too. At this time, Captain Lin said to Zhong Yuan, Lan, if you have the energy, take care of Xiaoyu. This is her first time participating in an operation, don't let her go too deep into the cave. It is a recognized fact by the cave masters of all countries that if you go in, you will die. Newcomers are prone to make various mistakes, and they need to be guided by their predecessors at the beginning. Zhong Yuan was reluctant and muttered, taking care of the newcomers will only affect my speed in killing monsters. However, seeing the expectant eyes of Captain Lin, she had to change her words, forget it, it's just a yellow-level cave anyway, just don't let the newcomers hold me back. This little girl is too arrogant. Yuzichio was so angry that she couldn't speak. Captain Lin smiled and said to Yuzichio, don't worry about it, Lan is a good child, she has a straightforward temper, she has no ill intentions. While speaking, Captain Lin's face suddenly changed, and he looked up at the sky above the museum was full of changes, the floating white clouds seemed to be stirred by a hand, the air flow rotated, and the clouds broke, a dark crack suddenly appeared in the air, at first it was only a few meters, and then the crack split like a spider web, becoming larger and larger, boom. The cave appeared, there was a huge black hole in the sky, as big as a basketball court, muffled noises came from the cave, as if something was about to come out, what's going on? There are still more than 10 minutes left before the predicted time. Moreover, such a large ruined cave. Is it really just the lowest level yellow? Team Lin reacted quickly and shouted, Chen Jun, open the anchor point. But there may be people inside who have not evacuated. It's too late. Open it quickly. Yes, with an order, the invisible wall rose from the ground, the 3 anchor points arranged in advance formed a blockade area of several kilometers, just surrounding the museum in the middle. Then, the blockade area will be perfectly copied. It is equivalent to copying another small world on the basis of the original world, fighting inside, it doesn't matter if the damage is serious, it will not affect reality. The anchor point is activated. The square world is open. Successfully pulled into the ruined cave, the sky returned to calm. The Nighthawk team also disappeared on the spot, only pieces of broken clouds proved that something had just come, the world was spinning, and the feeling of weightlessness came over Yuzichio. She was distracted for a moment, and she bit her tongue in haste. In less than 2 seconds, she regained her composure. Is this the square world created by the anchor point? It's amazing, she looked at the surroundings. Except for the gray sky, it was no different from the real world. Newcomer, don't be dazed. It's coming. Zhong Yuan held a long knife, and his eyes flashed with a belligerence that was inconsistent with his age. Crack. Rumble. All kinds of chaotic sounds came from the cave in the air. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Something is coming out. Yuzichio was so nervous that her vest was soaked with cold sweat. Kill. Zhong Yuan burst into an astonishing roar, which almost scared Yuzichio out of her wits. The next moment, a huge black claw covered with hideous barbs poked out of the cave. Chapter 3. I'll just take a look. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Click. Feng Jia was struck by a giant claw and shattered instantly, invisible air waves spread, and the terrifying ruins cave appeared again in the real world. Captain Lin's pupils shrank suddenly and his face turned pale, the square boundary was actually broken. The 3-anchor square realm is the weakest square realm, but it is extremely stable and cannot be smashed by ordinary aliens with 1 claw. Looking at the shape of that claw, it looks very strange, never before has such a foreign race been included, in other words, it is the first time it has appeared in the human world. The Su cave where it is located has never appeared in China before. It is a brand new cave that has not been recorded. Fortunately, there was only one and no other aliens came out. As long as we kill it, we should be able to suppress the Su cave. Lan. Stop that claw. Don't let the big guy inside come out. Chen Jun, request support from the headquarters. Team Lin decisively issued the order. Without his command, Zhong Yuan rushed out like the wind. A blush of excitement appeared on his fair oval face, and he turned around and shouted to Yuzichio, kill, kill, kill. Newbie, follow me. At the same time, several halos of light lit up around her body. Each halo means absorbing a kind of ruined crystal, at least gaining a kind of superpower. Versio was already frightened. Where's the promised Huang level market cave? This hole must be at least a disaster level. The aliens inside can smash the square world into pieces with just one claw. How to fight? The difference in strength is too big, rushing forward will only lead to death. I don't. I can't. Versio was trembling all over. Instead of following, he staggered back. Zhong Yuan looked back, and the smile on his face became even crazier. After getting rid of a certain baggage, the whole person feels relaxed. I told you before, taking care of the newcomers will only affect my speed of killing monsters. Being ridiculed again, Versio couldn't feel any anger at all. Only endless fear and confusion continued to spread in his heart. How is it possible? She is still smiling. Isn't she afraid of death? At this moment, Versio seemed to get to know Zhong Yuan, the ace of the Black Hawk team, again. At the same time, in the second exhibition hall of the museum, Zhong Yuan had no doubt that he and the girl who was secretly filming were the only two people left in the huge museum. Moreover, the girl is like brown candy. No matter how much you mop it, it cannot be dragged away. It is almost stuck to the floor. Hey, if you do this again, I'll call security. Okay, when the security comes later, I will say she is your girlfriend. By the way, my name is not Hello, my name is Luo Xiaoyuan, you can just call me Yuan. That this skill of being familiar with yourself is simply unrivaled in the world. If she really was his girlfriend as the security guard said, most of them wouldn't be able to do anything to her. Zhong Yuan's patience was completely worn away, and he wanted to get rid of Luo Xiaoyuan's entanglement. He said coldly with a sullen face, it really bothers me that you are like this. Luo Xiaoyuan blinked her eyes, thinking that he might be angry. She rolled her eyes and said softly, don't be angry. I just want to get to know you and make friends. I have no other meaning. Actually, I didn't plan on it like this at first. At most, I just shot a video of my brother, but the little brother is so funny and so handsome when he is angry. I really want to bully him for a while. Luo Xiaoyuan's behavior was harassment in Zhong Yuan's eyes. Just as he was about to refuse the one-sided friendship request, the ground suddenly shook. Not only the ground, but the entire museum building was shaking, the lights flickered on and off, and the guidance sign placed at the entrance of the exhibition hall fell with a crash. What happened? Earthquake. Zhong Yuan almost lost his footing. Shandong City is not in an earthquake zone and has only experienced 1 or 2 minor earthquakes in the past 10 years. Maybe the shaking is temporary and will go away after a while. In short, find a place to take shelter first. Zhong Yuan couldn't help but pull Luo Xiaoyuan towards the golden coffin in the center of the exhibition hall. Its security is the tightest in the entire museum. In an emergency, a layer of protective cover can be lowered outside the protective fence. There is a distance of 2 meters in the middle, which is more than enough for 2 people to take shelter. After taking a few steps, Zhong Yuan felt that the girl was unwilling to leave again. What else is she trying to do? Zhong Yuan looked back angrily, only to find that Luo Xiaoyuan's body seemed to have lost strength. Her arms drooped limply, and her head drooped. The next moment, Luo Xiaoyuan lost her balance. If it weren't for Zhong Yuan holding an arm, she would have fallen directly to the ground. Zhong Yuan was shocked. Hey! What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? At this time, Luo Xiaoyuan was dead. The moment the shock occurred, her internal organs and brain all shook together, and now they were turned into a mess. Blood slowly gushes out of her nostrils, staining her skirt a little red. Zhong Yuan didn't know what had happened to her, and thought she suddenly had a nosebleed and fainted. The shaking continued, and he quickly dragged Luo Xiaoyuan to lean against the golden coffin, then took out his mobile phone and dialed 120. Beep. The phone has no signal. Show outside service area. How is it possible? Less than 2 seconds later, however, the signal was restored. The call you have dialed is being connected. Please do not hang up. This mobile phone was a second-hand item that Zhong Yuan bought at a nearby fish pond last month. The seller is very kind. The machine is 80% new, and the price is 30% off and comes with free shipping. Everything else is good, except that sometimes the signal is not good and I get convulsions. Fortunately, I managed to pull it back at the critical moment. Speaking of which, Lan Lan said she would go home for dinner tomorrow. so I have to go to the supermarket to buy her favorite strawberry daifuku. Suddenly, the vibration stopped, everything returned to calm. I said that the earthquake in Upper East City would definitely not exceed magnitude 3, the call was connected, the sweet voice of the operator came. Just as Zhong Yuan was about to speak, the screen of the phone went black. After finally dialing 120, it was disconnected, damn it. Zhong Yuan pressed the power button twice, hoping to light up the screen again. No, there was still no response, so he could only use the girl's phone to make a call. Luo Xiaoyuan has been holding the phone tightly, and she hasn't let go until now. Zhong Yuan leaned over to take it, and was shocked to find that her machine was always on and in recording mode. The front camera was aimed at the ceiling, and a strange black shadow was captured on the screen. What the hell? It looked weird. Zhong Yuan subconsciously looked up, and instantly revealed an expression of disbelief. A black claw covered with barbs, with black flames burning on it, burned through the ceiling of the museum. There was no time to react, and the claw fell heavily. Whether it was a person or a coffin, it was reduced to ashes with this slap. Zhong Yuan could not feel anything. Even the severe pain when it was smashed did not have time to be transmitted to the brain. Am I dead? Consciousness was shrouded in a golden light, and outside the light was eternal darkness. In the infinitely silent world, only this bright spot bloomed a ray of life, which seemed abrupt and weird. Gradually, Zhong Yuan heard all kinds of sounds. This claw is an illusion. The real body is not here. Lon Lon, come back quickly. Don't let it lead you into the cave. I won't. I'm going to kill it. What's wrong with an illusion? I'll kill it anyway. We can't win, Mom. I want to go home. Kill 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 kill. Zhong Lan. I order you to come back. There was a fight outside, and the shouting was endless. What cave, real body, illusion, and inexplicable words were all ignored by Zhong Yuan. The only thing he cared about was that there was a girl whose voice was exactly the same as his sister's, even the name was the same. This is impossible. My sister is studying in a private high school, her grades are in the top 10 of the grade, she has a gentle and well-behaved personality, and she is a little clingy to her brother. How could she fight with others with all the talk of killing kill kill? A strong desire rose in the golden light. Let me take a look. Please, just take a look. Is it my sister Zhong Lan? Chapter 4: The Guardian Heart, Collapse and Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the real world, many people noticed the appearance of the cave. Look, what is that? That the passers-by had no sense of crisis at all, and they stopped and took out their mobile phones to take pictures. The museum was blocked within 3 kilometers, but such a large cave appeared in the sky, and it could be clearly observed even from a few kilometers away. The mobile phone camera could not capture the battle scene. Others can't see it, but it doesn't mean that Zhong Yuan can't see it. He tried hard to confirm it, and a close-up of the battle scene soon appeared in his mind. The sky seemed to be broken, with a big hole, a giant claw stretched out from the hole, which looked very similar to the one that attacked Zhong Yuan in the museum, but it was not quite the same. In the museum, the claw that attacked Zhong Yuan had shiny scales and black flames on it. Although the claw in the air outside was huge, the details seemed less real. Several people were fighting with the giant claw. The girl who rushed to the front and tied her hair in twin ponytails, wasn't she his sister Zhong Lan? She held a half-man-high sword in her hand, her clothes were tattered, and she chased the claws and slashed wildly. Her petite body seemed so small and insignificant, but she still had a crazy smile on her face. Without any fear, 2 people on the side desperately filled in and covered for her. In just a few seconds, they helped to block several crises. Only by experiencing the hardships of life and death together can such tacit understanding be achieved. Zhong Lan and those people are in the same team. This is not the first time she has fought with monsters. Zhong Yuan is almost crazy. Superwoman. Is she really my sister? She didn't go to class to study hard, and came to fight with monsters. Oh, she is on summer vacation recently, and she called back to say that she plans to use the vacation to study in the library. What a library study! If Zhong Yuan had hands and feet, he would definitely rush out and drag Zhong Lan home to teach her a lesson. She usually lives in the school, and occasionally brings a bunch of clothes to change home on weekends. At the end of the semester, she always handed in a beautiful report card. In fact, she didn't know what she did in school, how she performed, and where she went when she didn't go home on weekends. At this point, Zhong Yuan realized that he knew too little about his sister. While he blamed himself, Zhong Yuan gradually fell into a disadvantage. A series of high-intensity battles consumed a lot of her physical strength. Even if Zhong Yuan didn't know how to fight, he could see that the giant claws treated her like a toy, constantly moving back and forth. All the attacks fell into the sea and did not cause any damage to her. Even so, Zhong Yuan still didn't give up fighting. She regarded attack as the best defense, blocking the giant claws in front of it, not letting it invade the world. People always have to run out of energy. If the situation continues to deteriorate, she will have only one end, that is, death. Zhong Yuan. As the captain, I order you to retreat temporarily. Captain Lin shouted hoarsely. Zhong Yuan can't be left here. She is the first genius in Upper East City to absorb 5 ruins crystals in 10 years, and her limit is far more than that. Just now, the headquarters sent a call, and the support team has 3 minutes to set up the 9-anchor square boundary. As long as it is activated, the ruins cave can be pulled into it. The headquarters asked them to avoid it first, and there is no need to fight to the death. Zhong Yuan. It's so noisy that I'm 8 listening. Zhong Yuan held the long knife with both hands, and her joints creaked and turned gray. Only she knew how much pressure she was fighting under. From just now, the giant claw is no longer a phantom limb, it has become a physical entity, and the attack speed has slowed down a lot. But as long as it enters the range of 20 meters, breathing will become extremely difficult, and the whole person will feel like being roasted on fire, and it hurts. Can't retreat. Once retreated, no one can stop this terrifying alien race. Its power can instantly destroy most of the city, including the anchor points that have not yet been activated. Hold on a little longer. We must hold on until the square boundary is activated and pulled into the ruins cave. Zhong Yuan gritted her teeth and rushed towards the giant claw again with the knife. Team Lin couldn't stop it, so he could only yell at his team members, "Protect her." Not far away, Chen Jun's face was pale, and he coughed up blood with a bitter smile. The defense that could be put on had already been put on, and even the ability of life sharing was used. Otherwise, with this little girl's desperate fighting style, she would have died hundreds of times, and only 3 minutes have passed since the battle. The battle situation was desperate. God knows what bad luck this city has had, and it has encountered such a terrifying ruins. Zhong Yuan watched this scene in the dark and shouted. Lan. Stop fighting. You will die. Zhong Yuan was killing red-eyed and was about to enter a crazy state. Suddenly, a familiar voice came to her ears. Brother. Zhong Yuan couldn't help but be in a trance. Parents are away on business all year round, and she has a very indifferent relationship with them. Only her brother is the most important relative in her heart. Usually, she would listen to what her brother said, but now, no. Zhong Yuan endured the pain, her eyes were firm. This is where my brother and I live. If I retreat, who will protect this place? Who will protect my brother? Her skin was cracked and bleeding. A drop of blood fell into the air and immediately evaporated into red gas. In fact, Zhong Lan's internal organs had dried up. Without the life-sharing given by her teammates, she had died in battle. The black flames burning on the giant claws became more and more vigorous, almost covering the entire sky. Zhong Yuan saw it clearly, but Zhong Yuan rushed towards the flames like a moth to a flame, as if she could not see anything. She could not see the fire, and even her companions could not see it. They could not see it at all. The monster in the cave used only one claw to play with everyone. Zhong Yuan was anxious. Come back. Don't go. This time, the voice did not reach Zhong Lan's ears. Her figure disappeared in the black flames, and the moment the long sword fell from the air, Zhong Yuan felt that his world collapsed. All the scenes began to rapidly retreat. The broken scenes gathered into a torrent and rushed into consciousness. 20 minutes ago, the Inspection Bureau issued an emergency notice that the Sudan was about to appear. 10 days ago, a woman named Yuzichio passed the Nengzhe team entry assessment and asked the captain, who was the ace in the team. Half a year ago, Zhong Yuan, wearing a military uniform, received the Medal of Honor and a dazzling crystal from his superior. Year ago, a huge ruin cave appeared on the outskirts of Upper East City. It took several teams of ruins to suppress it successfully. the memories of countless cities poured into Zhong Yuan's consciousness at 100 times the speed of fast forward. It turned out that the peaceful and stable life no longer existed. Ruins, alien invasions, ruins, crystal energy. This is the real world. In the dark world, the golden light was exhausted and finally annihilated. Beep. The life monitor made a long beep, and the heartbeat on the screen finally turned into a straight line. In the ward, a teenager completely lost his breath. The strange thing is that although the heartbeat and blood pressure were gone, the dormant brain waves became active. Suddenly, the boy's eyelids trembled twice and slowly opened. The snow-white ceiling came into view. Is this a hospital? Am I still alive? Zhong Yuan found himself lying on a hospital bed with a lot of wires connected to his body. A straight line was drawn on the screen. Hey, is the machine broken? I'm clearly alive. Why are my heart rate and blood pressure both zero? I tried to raise my hand, and there was no discomfort, so Zhong Yuan unplugged all the connectors on his body. The annoying beeping sound disappeared. At this time, there was a faint voice outside the door. Zhong Lan, you don't want your brother to lie in the hospital all the time and become a vegetable in the end, right? Chapter 5. They used all kinds of methods to kidnap my sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhong Yuan's face changed slightly. He recognized that the owner of the voice was the one who ordered Zhong Lan to retreat as the captain at that time. He should be the captain of their team. The tone of voice actually had a sense of coercion and inducement. What do you mean, you don't want your brother to do this or that? Lan can't be allowed to mix with them. She is only a sophomore in high school and has not yet reached adulthood. Why should she bear this burden that is not suitable for her age? When Zhong Yuan thought of the dangers of the battle, his heart couldn't help twitching. Later, how did the battle go? It seems that the ruins cave was suppressed. Zhong Yuan is no longer the civilian who knows nothing. He doesn't want his sister to take risks again. At this time, Zhong Lan outside the door said crisply, my brother will be fine, right? You promised me that you would definitely save him. That's right, but Xiao Lan, there is no free lunch in this world. Well, there are no children's meals. Grandpa Ken's children's meals are half price every Thursday. Outside the ward, Lin Dongliang looked at Zhong Lan's innocent big eyes and felt guilty. The captain of the Nighthawk squad, who has the rank of major in the military, has fallen to the point of deceiving children in order to dig out a good seedling. A strong sense of guilt arises spontaneously, however. The little girl in front of him is the most talented child he has seen since he became a Su Neng. If you miss it, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Lin Dongliang persuaded, even if it is half price on Thursday, children's meals are not free. I will save your brother for you, and you agree to my conditions, okay? Zhong Lan lowered her head and twisted her fingers silently, as if she was thinking about something. Lin Dongliang was happy. There is a chance. Try harder, it will be easy as long as the person agrees. Hearing this, Zhong Yuan couldn't bear it anymore, and rushed to the door of the ward with a big stride, opened the door suddenly, and shouted, no. I don't agree. Brother. You're awake. Zhong Lan cried out in surprise, and threw herself into his arms like a young swallow returning to its nest. Zhong Yuan was stunned. What happened? Zhong Lan was short, not even as tall as his shoulders, and that Lin Dongliang was much younger than he had seen before. Lin Dongliang was also stunned. The doctor diagnosed that Zhong Yuan was likely to be brain dead, so how did he suddenly regain consciousness? Lin Dongliang originally planned to first determine Zhong Lan's identity as a Su Neng person and send her to school for slow training. In exchange, her brother Zhong Yuan was transferred to a medical institution for Su Neng people for treatment. As long as the person was transferred there, there was an 80% chance of waking up. Unexpectedly, the plan fell through before it was implemented. Brother, why don't you talk? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Zhong Lan happily wiped away the tears from her eyes and shook her brother's arm worriedly. The electronic clock in the corridor showed the time, 2042, July 19, 3:40 p.m. Zhong Yuan's pupils shrank slightly. Isn't this 4 years ago? The summer vacation when he was promoted to high school, he was in a car accident. After a few days of hospitalization, he was discharged and went home. Zhong Yuan quickly recognized the reality. Reborn, attacked by a terrible claw in the museum. Not only did she not die, but she returned to the day of the car accident 4 years ago. Great! Zhong Yuan is only 12 years old now, just in junior high school, and Lin has come to her door and asked her to join the Nengzhe team. Zhong Yuan said to Lin Dongliang with a stern face, "Captain Lin, please go back. I rejected the matter of the capable person on behalf of my sister." Lin Dongliang looked Zhong Yuan up and down, thinking, Zhong Lan's brother is handsome, and he exudes an adult spirit at a young age, like a parent, and it is not easy to fool him at first glance. Taking advantage of Lin Dongliang's lack of reaction, Zhong Yuan hurriedly pulled his sister into the ward and quickly closed the door. Bang! Lin Dongliang was turned away and was depressed to death. The situation is not good. Zhong Lan's brother hates him. The first impression is very important. Maybe, after Zhong Yuan woke up, he hid behind the door and heard their conversation, misunderstood that he was going to kidnap his sister, and rushed out. What to do? After contacting Zhong Yuan several times, he finally gained a little trust. Seeing that he was about to kidnap successfully, Lin Dongliang didn't want to give up all his efforts. However, he couldn't tell Zhong Yuan how talented his sister was. After all, the information of the Su Neng is top secret. Trouble. Lin Dongliang rubbed his temple with a headache and turned to leave. In the ward, Zhong Yuan put his ear to the door, and after confirming that the footsteps were far away, he said to Zhong Yuan, "Next time you see this person, stay away from him." "Oh, I know." Zhong Yuan showed an angelic smile. Zhong Yuan's heart was melted. Lan is really super well behaved, completely different from the crazy killing sister he saw in the museum before. The bad habit of fighting and killing must have started from joining the Nighthawk squad. Fortunately, I was reborn and came back, and there is still a chance to set things right. Zhong Yuan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, he noticed that the ward was very unusual: a large remote sensing bed, a 70-inch wall-mounted TV, a walk-in closet, a dressing mirror on the side, and a piano placed in the space near the window. If it weren't for the pile of instruments monitoring vital signs, it would be a luxurious single room in a hotel. 4 years ago in the summer, he was in a car accident and was treated in the first hospital of Shandong City. The conditions of the ward he lived in were not so good. It seems that after rebirth, some things have changed. Zhong Yuan hesitated and asked, Lan, who booked the ward? Zhong Yuan answered honestly, it was the man outside the door who helped to book it. He said that you can get the best treatment here. Zhong Yuan frowned. How do you know him? Zhong Yuan said sadly, you had a car accident. I couldn't contact my parents. I kept watching you, crying at the door of the hospital, and then that person appeared. Zhong Yuan's heart trembled, touched her head, and said softly, I'm sorry, I made you worry. It's my brother's fault. It doesn't matter. It's good that you wake up. I'm fine. However, it was too coincidental. Lin Dongliang took the initiative to find the door just after the car accident. Zhong Yuan even suspected that the car accident was deliberately arranged by him. After all, he is a military official, and he won't use such vicious means. While thinking, Zhong Yuan said carefully, Uncle Lin helped me a lot. He said he could find the best doctor for you and make sure you woke up. He also said that a friend of his invested in a school called Chengying College. No one signed up and it was about to close down. He hoped that I would go there to study and attract more people. It's about to close down. Chengying College is the top private school in Upper East City, with integrated teaching for junior high school and high school. After absorbing a lot of memories, Zhong Yuan knew very well that the military was behind this school. In order to cultivate the capable, special classes were set up. Zhong Yuan suddenly realized, except for joining the Nighthawk squad, Lin Dongliang was responsible for Zhong Lan's schooling. It's really abominable. He lowered his head and said to his sister solemnly, I'm fine. I'll be discharged today. You don't have to force yourself to go to Chengying College. Didn't you always tell me that you missed number 2 middle school? Number 2 middle school is fine. Zhong Lan's eyes lit up and she said happily, great. In this way, I can go to school with my brother. Zhong Yuan is a student in the high school department of number 2 middle school. She can meet her brother often by going to the junior high school department, and they can go to school and go home together. Brother, your hands are so cold. Zhong Lan's palm touched the top of her head. Although she enjoyed such closeness, the cold touch made her feel a little worried. Why don't you stay a few more days? It's okay, I'm fine. Zhong Yuan smiled and touched his heart subconsciously. Then, the corner of his eye twitched slightly. Are you kidding me? My heart doesn't seem to be beating. Zhong Yuan tiptoed, turned her cheek affectionately, and put one ear close to his chest. Let me hear whether you are telling the truth or a lie. No. Zhong Yuan quickly stepped back and coaxed, how could I lie to Lon Lon? I'm really fine and can be discharged today. Bang. Suddenly, the door was opened. Lin Dongliang frowned and strode in. He was about to leave. But when he reached the elevator, he suddenly felt something was wrong. He hadn't told Zhong Lan about the Su Nengzhe yet. Where did her brother get the information? Chapter 6 Negotiation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Dongliang came back again and again, and even broke into the ward inexplicably. Could it be that, if his sister is not allowed to join the team, he will come back and use coercive means to take the person away? Zhong Yuan hurriedly stood in front of his sister, just like an old hen protecting its chicks, and asked vigilantly, what do you want to do? This is a hospital. Don't mess around. That even Zhong Lan became nervous. Lin Dongliang scratched his hair, feeling even more depressed. Is the word bad guy written on my face? No, we can't let the brothers and sisters misunderstand. He tried his best to look as kind as possible, with a stiff smile on his face, and said gently, Zhong Yuan, do you know about the Su ability master? Zhong Yuan's heart skipped a beat, secretly thinking something was wrong. Damn it, this guy hasn't mentioned the matter of Su Ning to Lan Lan yet. He seems to just want her to go to Qingying College to study. However, Zhong Yuan's body is only a teenager, but his soul is that of an adult who has traveled back in time. It is impossible to panic. There was no trace of panic on his face. Instead, he raised a hint of sarcasm at the corner of his mouth and said lazily, there is no airtight wall in the world. My sister is a genius who comes only once in 10 years. Do you think I will let you use one at will? Lollipop, trick her away. Lin Dongliang was stunned. Ordinary civilians don't know about Su Neng, but some people with social status know some inside information. To describe Zhong Lan's talent as once in 10 years is to underestimate her. At this time, Zhong Lan asked quietly, brother, what is a capable person? Zhong Yuan quickly turned around and said, Lan Lan, don't talk for now. I'll deal with him. Yeah. I listen to my brother. As an expert, Lin Dongliang's hearing is much higher than that of ordinary people. Hearing the conversation between the brother and sister, he secretly judged, Zhong Lan was so dependent on his brother, and if he wanted to dig her out, he had to deal with Zhong Yuan peacefully first. This kid must have heard some bad information and developed a prejudice against the Su-capable people. Lin Dongliang tilted his head to Zhong Yuan and gestured, let's go out and talk alone. Okay. Zhong Yuan said to his sister, you stay here and lock the door. If anyone besides me knocks on the door, don't open it. Got it. Zhong Lan nodded seriously. Lin Dongliang's face was darker than the bottom of the pot. Who are you guarding against? Brother is too wary. Is the rebellious period coming? The misunderstanding must be cleared up as soon as possible. A few minutes later, the hospital toilet. Lin Dongliang closed the door and took out a cigarette from his pocket. Zhong Yuan stood in front of the sink and pointed at the no-smoking sign on the wall expressionlessly. Lin Dongliang had no choice but to put the cigarette back into his pocket, pondered for a moment, and said, since you know about Su Nengzhe, let me get straight to the point. Your sister Zhong Lan is a good prospect, and she should go to a better school for further study. Zhong Yuan raised his eyebrows and said word by word, my sister is only 12 years old this year. Do you already want to control her future and make her live and die for the country? I wouldn't let her run out and risk her life to fight monsters despite knowing the danger. Lin Dongliang frowned and said, you think so? 0.99% of Xujing resources are in the hands of the military. The purpose of vigorously cultivating people with Su abilities is, of course, to suppress Su holes and protect the country's peace and stability. At the same time, it also prevents people from other countries from entering China and causing damage. How can such a good thing come from enjoying national resources and possessing superhuman abilities but not wanting to take responsibility? Lin Dongliang organized his thoughts and said earnestly, Zhong Yuan, I can understand your mood. No, you can't understand. Zhong Yuan interrupted harshly. He had watched his sister being swallowed up by black flames, and he didn't want to bear the pain of losing her again. Seeing that he didn't make sense at all, Lin Dongliang felt anxious and couldn't help but raise his voice. You don't want your sister to become a ruiner, then have you ever thought about it? If a disaster suddenly strikes one day in the future, and she doesn't even have the ability to protect herself, who will protect her? You. Zhong Yuan was shocked and couldn't refute for a moment. Yes, if an emergency occurs again, the people who will die fastest will always be the unarmed ordinary people. Seeing that he was wavering, Lin Dongliang took advantage of the heat and said, I have never wanted to control Zhonglan's life. I just don't want a genius to be unknown and lost to all living beings. After she becomes an expert, no one can force her to do what she doesn't want to do. Also, every Su Ning user is the country's most valuable combat force. Losing one is a huge loss that we cannot bear. For every operation, the tactical department will formulate countermeasures to minimize the risk. I can guarantee that as long as Zhong Yuan goes to Qingying Academy to receive systematic training, she will definitely be one of the strongest in the history of China. Do you, the elder brother, want to kill her future with your own hands? Lin Dongliang looked directly into Zhong Yuan's eyes, but found that his eyes had no energy at all, just like a dead person, lifeless, or, can't it? However, at this time, Zhong Yuan stretched out his right hand. Lin Dongliang's heart trembled, and then he became ecstatic. Shake hands and make peace. This guy finally figured it out. He hurriedly held Zhong Yuan's hand. Why is there no temperature at all? Zhong Yuan gritted his teeth and said, what do you want to do? Let go. Lin Dongliang had a puzzled look on his face and quickly let go, saying strangely, if you don't want to shake hands, what are you doing with your hand? Zhong Yuan said fiercely, bring out your ID and let me see. Lin Dongliang, I'll give it a try. You still don't believe me. Well, if you are willing to see the certificate, it means you are willing to talk further. Lin Dongliang took out his ID and handed it over. After Zhong Yuan looked carefully, he snorted, I didn't expect you to be a major. The rank of major is not low. You know, Lin Dongliang is only in his early 30s this year. As the captain of the Nighthawk team, he can mobilize all the armed police forces in Shandong City in an emergency. My military officer ID is real. If you don't believe it, you can check it. Lin Dongliang was still uneasy. Zhong Yuan is too difficult to deal with, and he is still very suspicious. I am afraid that he will change his mind temporarily. Zhong Yuan threw his military ID card back and sneered, I didn't say I didn't believe you. Humph. A dignified military major, staring at a 12-year-old girl all day long. Lin Dongliang finally became angry. Boy, don't go too far. When you say that, even I feel a little perverted. Seeing that the other party was about to explode, Zhong Yuan snorted coldly, it's not impossible to let Lon Lon go to Qingying College to study, but I have a condition. The powder keg that was about to be ignited instantly went silent. Lin Dongliang was overjoyed. What conditions? As long as it is within the scope of my permission, I can agree to it. Zhong Yuan said calmly, I'm not worried about her going to live on campus alone. I also want to go to Qingying College. Chapter 7, Stroking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even 4 years ago, Zhong Yuan still did not get rid of the fear of death. The appearance of ruins caves is irregular and can only be detected temporarily. Predictably, 4 years later, the terrifying ruins hole with its black claws sticking out will appear above the museum as scheduled. If you do nothing, you will inevitably repeat the same mistakes. There's no point in escaping. If you can escape this time, there will be another time. Lin Dongliang is right, the world will only become more chaotic in the future. Zhong Yuan didn't want to, and couldn't bear the pain of losing his sister anymore. If you want to change the future, you must start by changing the present. This time, the older brother must shoulder the responsibility of protecting his younger sister. Looking at Zhong Yuan's firm eyes, Lin Dongliang gave in. Getting Qingying College to accept an extra transfer student is just a phone call away. Moreover, the college also has ordinary classes, which are not just for cultivating talented people. Zhong Yuan wants to go to the academy to take care of his sister. The request is not too much and there is no reason to refuse. I agree to your request. Lin Dongliang suggested seriously, by the way, your face doesn't look good. Don't rush out of the hospital first, and let the doctor do a comprehensive examination. Zhong Yuan's expression remained unchanged and he said, no need. I don't feel uncomfortable at all, and it's not good for my health to keep getting checked. He lifted up his sleeves, exposed a section of his arm, and said, I received so many IVs that my hands have turned black. Lin Dongliang looked at him speechlessly. There is a large light brown patch on the skin. It doesn't look like it was caused by an intravenous drip or a needle. Instead, it looks a bit like corpse spots. Lin Dongliang felt strange. However, he didn't think much about it. You have just reached an agreement with Zhong Yuan, so you have to be careful and follow the hair to avoid going back on your word. Lin Dongliang nodded and said, in this case, I will help you go through the discharge procedures. Zhong Yuan frowned and said, how much is the hospitalization fee? I will pay it myself. Lin Dongliang smiled and said, I might as well tell you that hospitalization for students of Chengying College is free. With your student ID card, you can take public transportation and enter various attractions, amusement parks, art galleries, and theaters for free. How about this? I will help you get your student status first, and you can enjoy free treatment. Hehe, deal with your brother first. Are you still worried that your sister won't come to study? Zhong Yuan was startled and then fell silent. Damn it, the treatment at Chengying College is so good. Lin Dongliang patted him on the shoulder and said, don't have any mental burden. Just treat Chengying College as an ordinary high school. Most of the ordinary classes are family members of Su Neng, who are the same type of people as you. Zhong Yuan asked, where is my sister? Lin Dongliang said matter-of-factly, of course Zhong Lan will enter the special class. Then I will also go to the special class. This. Lin Dongliang was in a dilemma. Why did Zhong Yuan go to the special class? In addition to teaching various combat knowledge, there are also actual combat exercises. It would just be a waste of time for him to go, and it might even affect Zhong Lan. Lin Dongliang was about to refuse, but when he saw Zhong Yuan lifeless and desperate, he started to feel dizzy again. Luxuriate with hair, Luxu with hair, he thought for a moment and said in deep thought, I can give you the status of an auditor. You must ensure that you don't fall behind in your high school homework, and your average score must be above 90 points. This is a harsh condition. It is really difficult to attend special classes during the day and get high scores in cultural exams. Lin Dongliang felt that Zhong Yuan would give up listening if he could not hold on for long. However, high school subjects are really nothing to Zhong Yuan. He had learned it a long time ago and even worked as a tutor during his freshman year. He was very familiar with the knowledge. Okay. It's a deal. In the blink of an eye, it's the end of August, the summer vacation is over, and the registration day for the new students of Chengying College has arrived. A brother and sister were standing at the gate of the school with their suitcases. Zhong Lan looked around curiously and exclaimed, this is the private school that Uncle Lin said is about to close down and no one goes to school. The big stone sculpture at the door is almost 3 stories high. I know, this school is flashy and trashed. Money is used for face-saving projects. Under the shade of the trees at the gate, Xie was greeting the new students with a roster in his hand. Hearing this, I couldn't help but have black lines in my head. Where did this kid come from, talking nonsense? That is the statue of Mr. Qing Yunxiao, the most powerful warrior in China. He established the training system for the capable people of Huaguoxu. He is a monument and a spiritual symbol. Xie glanced around and immediately spotted the Zhong brothers and sisters at the door. Coming to Chengying Academy's special class at such a young age. School uniforms were also distributed in advance. The little sister's talent must be amazing and she gets special care. The other person in casual clothes must be the family member who sent her here. Xie secretly judged, walked forward quickly, and said to Zhong Lan, classmate, are you here to report, right? I will take you to the dormitory. The suitcase was quite big, taller than the little girl, and she definitely couldn't lift it alone. Zhong Lan looked at Xie and said politely, thank you. No, my brother will take me there. Xie Han immediately understood the identity of the boy next to her and said with a smile, the dormitory of the special class is a military-controlled area, and your brother cannot enter. I am the senior of the special class, so I can help you carry your luggage. The little sister is very cute, pink, like a porcelain doll. Xie Han thought Zhong Yuan was cute the first time she saw him. As for the boy next to him, he took one look and ignored him. The capable people of the ruins have long surpassed the level of ordinary people and will not be interested in civilians. At this time, Zhong Yuan said lightly, I am an auditor in the special class, and I am also a family member, so I should be able to enter, right? Huh? Xie Han looked surprised. Auditor? There is such a system in the special class. He flipped through the list and asked casually, what's your name? Zhong Yuan. Soon, Xie Han saw the name from the list. There was indeed a bracket on the side, saying auditor. Really, that maybe my brother is even more special. Xie Han looked at Zhong Yuan a few more times and had to admit that this guy had a face that was popular with girls. He had a handsome face, a thin figure, extremely white skin, and a pair of black-framed glasses on his nose. To describe it in the words of a girl Xie Han knew, he was a top-notch weak bottom. Good guy. You must stay away from him to avoid being rumored about CP. Xie Han hurriedly stepped back, pointed in a direction, and said to Zhong Yuan, in that case, you go there by yourself. It's easy to find. Just go straight, turn and keep going. Thank you. Zhong Yuan calmly pulled the suitcase and said to his sister, Lan, let's go. Okay. Zhong Yuan didn't think there was anything wrong with Xie Han. However, Zhong Yuan was keenly aware that the other party's attitude had changed subtly in just a few minutes. Did he see something? It was still very hot in late August, but Zhong Yuan was wearing a long-sleeved shirt. His vision remained at 2.0, but he wore glasses contrary to his usual behavior. There was something wrong. All of this was to cover up one thing. Zhong Yuan, in a biological sense, was already dead. When he returned home on the day he was discharged from the hospital, he discovered something abnormal about himself. No breathing, no heartbeat, no body temperature. He felt neither tired nor hungry. He could eat, but didn't need to excrete. His sense of taste became extremely dull, and the food he loved before was tasteless. Finally, Zhong Yuan confirmed one thing: there was nothing wrong with the life monitor in the hospital. He was indeed dead, and even corpse spots appeared. But his consciousness was still there. He could speak, think, and move. After resting at home for a few days, the spots on his skin subsided. As long as he didn't have a physical examination, he looked almost the same as a normal person. Zhong Yuan didn't know why this happened. Maybe it was related to the golden coffin. When the coffin was smashed by the giant claws, it seemed that something entered his body. As for why he died after coming back, I can only say that he was unlucky. His body just died in the hospital. However, the fact is that after the car accident, Zhong Yuan lived until the invasion of the Sudong 4 years later. So, 4 years ago, what methods did Lin Dongliang use to save him? Unfortunately, these are no longer important. Zhong Yuan lived again, and Lin Dongliang no longer had the opportunity to use his methods. Chapter 8: 3 Unnecessary Things That Calmed the Whole Audience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After taking Zhong Yuan for a while, Zhong Yuan was secretly relieved when no one at the door came after him. If your skin is pale, cover it with long-sleeved clothes. If your eyes are dull and lack energy, put on a pair of glasses. He wore a layer of gloves that simulated skin on his hands to avoid exposing his body temperature when shaking hands. There shouldn't be any clues. The special class was reported 3 days earlier than the regular class, and there were almost no students on the road. Arriving at the dormitory building smoothly, the control was not as strict as Xie Han said. Zhong Yuan could come and go freely and sent his sister to the dormitory. In fact, his audit student information was entered into the college's monitoring system, allowing him to travel unimpeded in the living quarters of the able-bodied. After settling in my sister, I went to the academic affairs office without stopping to get the student handbook and supplies. Each student in the special class will also be assigned a watch, which has the function of contact and positioning. Zhong Yuan also participated. However, his dormitory was arranged in an ordinary dormitory, a 4-person room. the roommate hasn't come yet. Zhong Yuan chose a seat on the upper bunk by the window. After putting his luggage away, he stared at the scenery outside the window. There was no time to look forward to the new life that was about to begin, and the communication watch started buzzing and vibrating. Hello, freshmen of the special class of 2042. Military training starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, meet on the playground. Is there going to be military training in the afternoon? The watch kept buzzing and vibrating, and notifications kept playing. Zhong Yuan flipped through the manual. It was too simple. It just told you how to charge the phone on a piece of paper. It didn't say how to turn off notifications at all. Keeping it vibrating is no solution, it can't be turned off. Zhong Yuan thought for a while and tried to say to his watch, "Got it." Then, as if it had received the correct instructions, it stopped moving. In the broadcasting room of Chengying College, a young man wearing sunglasses crossed his legs arrogantly and sat on a large chair. He installed a monitoring software on the terminal in the broadcasting room, which can remotely control the wristwatch sent to the new student. Various sounds came from the monitoring software. What kind of rubbish? The quality is too bad. Oh, how come the watch stops? If it continues to vibrate, it will run out of power. Is the watch broken? Crack. This was a direct smashing sound. The man in sunglasses grabbed a bag of potato chips and ate them while listening to them with great interest. Suddenly, he heard a sound. Receive. There is someone sensible. As soon as a reply is received, the watch will stop. Unfortunately, only one person has responded since I posted the notice. The man in sunglasses shook his head speechlessly. Oh, the quality of this freshman class is obviously not very good. Some people are so stupid that they smash their communication watches. You will regret it when you have a hard time in the afternoon. The man in sunglasses was full of gloating and showed no sympathy at all. After a few seconds, he heard the voice of a cute, helpless and weak girl. I know, can you please stop shaking me? My hands are numb from your shock. The man in sunglasses was shocked and the potato chips fell to the floor. Depend on. Who can stop this? He controlled the software and said speechlessly, you passed the test. Really, did you turn on the voice changer? Your voice is so childish. Bang! The door to the broadcast room was opened. A woman in red rushed in furiously. As soon as he entered the door, he yelled at the man in sunglasses. Feng Qing. How did you become the student president? You were asked to inform the freshmen to gather in the afternoon. What are you doing? Why do 4 freshmen's watches have no signal? The man in sunglasses was stunned and said in a low voice, What? This freshman class has 4 brave warriors who are not afraid of death. Where did they get the courage to smash their watches? The woman in red jumped to her feet angrily and said angrily, How dare you say that? Feng Qing laughed dryly and said, Isn't it customary to recruit new students? When I entered school the year before last, I was treated even worse. This year they just need to say received on their watches and they will be fine. It's very simple. The woman in red is named Lu Wen. She is the instructor of this special class, and she is a powerful Su-Ao. After listening to the sound coming from the watch for a while, Lu Wen couldn't help but sigh. Don't blame them. Most of them are civilians and have no concept of organizational discipline. They cannot immediately follow military standards. Lu Wen clenched her fists and said fiercely, Because of this, it is even more necessary to practice to the death during military training. Let them know what discipline is. Feng Qing shrank his neck. New students, wish yourself well. Before 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the freshmen in the special class gathered in a mess on the playground. The sun is shining brightly and the temperature exceeds 35 degrees. The sun was shining mercilessly, and within a few minutes, almost everyone's camouflage uniforms were soaked, of course not including Zhong Yuan. No matter how hot it was, he didn't feel it. The body of a dead person does not secrete sweat. Zhong Yuan secretly counted, including him, there were 41 people in total. Most of them are high school students aged 16 or 17. The youngest is Zhong Lan, and the eldest student looks to be almost 30. Perhaps the criterion for admission to special classes is not age. but qualifications. Military training may also be different from ordinary military training. The instructor hasn't arrived yet, and no one has taken the initiative to talk to the people around them. Zhong Yuan felt that the atmosphere in the class was lifeless. In fact, the freshmen all knew it well. There are only so many rare ruins crystals in total. And only by performing well can you get more resources. It is impossible to make friends, and classmates are all competitors. A few minutes later, a woman with a high ponytail and camouflage entered the playground. There was also a boy wearing sunglasses next to her. Walking in front of everyone, the woman stood with her legs crossed, posing a posture of ease, with her hands behind her back, and said loudly, "Hello, classmates. My name is Lu Wen. From today on, I will be the instructor of the 2042 special class. If you have any problems in life and study, you can ask me for help. I will do my best to help you." As soon as the voice fell, someone raised his hand. "Instructor, I have a question for you." In the third row, a bold guy spoke first. Lu Wen nodded. "You say." The man asked carelessly, "Excuse me, do you have a boyfriend?" There is a saying, as long as you are brave, the instructor will take maternity leave. Feng Qing, who was standing at the back, secretly gave a thumbs up to the questioner, "Warrior." However, Lu Wen did not get angry, but said expressionlessly, "No. As a Su Neng, I don't need feelings, I don't need love, I don't need to get married. I just want to soar into the sky and see all the little creatures. Men will only affect my speed of killing monsters." There was no sound. The boys were collectively silent, stunned by her three no need, but Zhong Yuan had a vague bad premonition. He turned his head subconsciously to look at his sister. I saw Zhong Lan's eyes light up slightly, her mouth opened, and her face was full of admiration. Damn. There is something wrong with this instructor. Maybe she is the one who led Lan astray. Zhong Yuan's face was ashen, and he clenched his fists. At this time, Lu Wen said loudly, "Do you have any more questions?" The boy said embarrassedly, "No. No more, I'm done." Lu Wen nodded, and did not criticize the crooked formation of the freshman team, but directly called the names. "Zhong Lan, step out." Chapter 9 Military Training for Life and Death Agreement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When his name was called, Zhong Lan's nervous face turned pale. Zhong Yuan patted her and comforted her. "It's okay." Zhong Lan felt relieved and walked out of the team slowly. Unexpectedly, Lu Wen actually said kindly, "You are too young and don't need to participate in the afternoon military training." "Ah." Zhong Lan said cutely, "Can I go back now?" Lu Wen said, "Yes. If you feel like you have nothing to do, you can go to the library to read books or surf the internet. However, be careful not to look for too long to avoid visual fatigue. Good eyesight is very important to us capable people." "Oh." Zhong Lan responded and stood still. "Zhong Lan, do you have any questions?" Lu Wen frowned slightly. At this time, Feng Qing, who was standing at the back, was shocked. "Damn it, didn't I turn on the voice changer? This freshman really has a little sister from kindergarten." Feng Qing also noticed that Zhong Lan seemed to have been looking at someone in the team intentionally or unintentionally. He followed the little sister's gaze and saw a young man wearing black-rimmed glasses. He nodded imperceptibly and moved his lips, as if to say, "Go ahead." Then, Zhong Lan obediently said to Lu Wen, "Instructor, teacher, I'm going back first." "Goodbye." Feng Qing was thoughtful and looked at the young man a few more times. "My body is not very strong. After being exposed to the scorching sun for a while, my face is so pale. I wonder if I can withstand the intensity of military training." Zhong Lan's departure from the team made a group of freshmen jealous. "There is no way. Who let me be the little sister?" And Zhong Yuan is also thinking about it. Zhong Lan is taken care of and does not need military training. Should he, an auditor, want to join the military training? When she was struggling, Lu Wen said loudly, "Everyone is here, please count. 1, 2, 3, 4. The counting speed was very fast, and in a short time all the people with number 40 had reported. Lu Wen was full of questions. There were 40 people in a class scheduled for 40 people, but one person left, so why were there still 40 people? Rest where you are for 5 minutes, that while taking advantage of the break, quickly call the Academic Affairs office. After a while, she hung up the phone with a strange look on her face. The above temporarily arranged an auditor to join the class, and no special care was required. Everyone was treated equally. In this case, Lu Wen didn't think too much and winked at Feng Qin, who immediately took out a stack of documents and distributed them to the new students. What? Taking it into his hand, Zhong Yuan roughly scanned the words on it. It turned out to be a danger notice with a life and death agreement attached. It said that there are certain dangers in military training, and the academy will not be responsible if an accident occurs. Lu Wen said, if you don't want to sign, you can just go to the Academic Affairs office to withdraw from school. Zhong Yuan looked around and found that no one had any objections. None of these people were afraid, and they signed the agreement without even looking at it. What kind of hellish training requires a life and death agreement? Anyway, I'm already dead, and I won't be able to come back after signing the agreement. Zhong Yuan muttered in his heart and signed his name neatly. When Feng Qin saw that they were almost there, the Shiji shouted, just sign it and leave it to me. Zhong Yuan stepped forward and handed over the agreement. Suddenly, the man in sunglasses lowered his voice and said quickly, don't be brave in military training. If you feel in danger, go to a safe area and hide. If you can't, use your watch to call for help. Also, protect your watch and don't let others snatch it. Zhong Yuan glanced at him doubtfully. Feng Qin smiled and stopped talking. Thanks for reminding me, I will pay attention. The other party seemed to be reminding him kindly, and Zhong Yuan politely thanked him. After handing in the agreement, everyone received a backpack. Inside were a saber, a kettle, a small pistol, and some emergency food. Then, the 40 freshmen got on the transport helicopter. An hour later, they arrived at Ximen Mountain on the outskirts of Shandong City. Ximen Mountain is more than 1,500 meters above sea level and is the highest mountain in Shandong City. The mountains are covered with dense shade, and the ecology still maintains its undeveloped original style. Behind its vitality there is a history of being invaded by Sudong. Within the scope of the mountain, the military headquarters set up a 9-acre square boundary. Low-level alien races were put into it and allowed to grow freely. There are still many places in China that support foreign races. It can continuously provide the Su ability users with Su crystals produced by foreign races. After all, it's not enough to just hope for the emergence of the Ruins Cave. Cultivating people with Ruin skills requires a large amount of Ruins crystal resources. Therefore, countries all over the world are using the Square Realm to support foreign races. This method also has a lot of hidden dangers, and there is a certain probability of attracting Ruin holes. Therefore, there must be a team of Ruin experts stationed outside each fixed square boundary. In front of the station, Lu Wen gave a military salute to an officer and said loudly, report to Commander Wan. Lu Wen of Chengying College led 40 freshmen to request to enter the Square Realm. That it is customary for freshmen from special classes at Chengying College to attend the military training in Fangjia at Ximen Mountain every year. The military headquarters has asked the local garrison to give the college some support. Chief One said with a smile, we are all acquaintances, so there is no need to be so reserved. If you have anything to say, just say it. Our Fenglong team will be on call to ensure the safety of your students. Lu Wen smiled gratefully, thank you, Sir Wan. That the Wind Dragon team is indeed easier to talk to and has a very friendly relationship with the academy. After completing the entry procedures, Lu Wen said to all the freshmen, you are all geniuses with extremely high qualifications, but before absorbing the Ruin crystal, you are just ordinary people. The purpose of this military training is to let you remember the fragility of being an ordinary person. Your military training task is to spend 3 days in the Fangjia of Ximen Mountain. You can hunt the aliens inside at will. You don't need to hand in the Ruin crystal you get, and it's best not to absorb it privately. After the military training, I will use my ability to activate your energy and increase the success rate by at least 20%. That everyone was surprised. Unexpectedly, Lu Wen's ability can actually increase the success rate of absorbing Ruin crystal. You know, absorbing Ruin crystal does not guarantee that you will get the ability in it 100%. The more powerful and precious the skill, the harder it is to obtain. Increasing the success rate by 20% is simply against the sky. If it is put outside, it will definitely cost a sky-high fee. now that Lu Wen is an instructor and is willing to do it for free, who would be stupid enough to absorb ruin crystal privately? Lu Wen emphasized and said, if you encounter danger, you can use your watch to ask for help. The watch can not only locate your position, but also emit high-frequency sound waves to scare away some low-level aliens. Turning on the sound wave function will accelerate power consumption. The power of your watch is only enough for 3 days. Manage the power well and don't waste it. Finally, I want to remind you that we are all Chinese compatriots. In the face of crisis, we should share the same hatred and enemies, rather than kill each other. If anyone harms classmates, he will be expelled from school immediately and sent to the military court. Don't be lucky. Now, everyone enters the square world. Several freshmen changed their faces. Many people frowned, and they didn't know what they were thinking. Zhong Yuan stood in the crowd and didn't notice that the 2 people behind him didn't have watches on their hands. He pondered the instructor's words carefully, thinking, the military training of the special class is to enter the square world to kill aliens. No wonder Zhong Lan doesn't have to participate, she is too young and doesn't know anything. She will be a food delivery if she goes in. Since they have been given sabers and guns, it means that the aliens in Ximen Mountain are not strong. Even ordinary people can kill them with weapons as long as they operate properly. If I can defeat Su Jing, will I have a chance to become a Su Ning? Chapter 10, Alone and Pray. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is Fangjie. Zhong Yuan looked at the gray sky and felt a sense of inexplicable depression. After entering Fangjie, the mountain is still the same mountain, but it is not a peaceful world without conflict with the world. The mountain in front of us is full of dangers and a large number of alien races live, following the large group into the mountain. Everyone scattered in 2s and 3s, maybe because Zhong Yuan looked unhealthy. He was left alone after entering the mountain, and no one came to form a team. That's right, it's just what I want. If you don't form a team, you don't have to worry about your secret being discovered. Walking along the main road, passing the parking lot, a wide mountain road appeared in front of you. The sign showed that the road ahead leads to Ximen Mountain Scenic Area. Zhong Yuan came here several times for autumn outings when he was a child, and the scenery here is exactly the same as the Ximen Mountain in his memory. If it were a normal person, the top priority would not be to kill the alien race, but to ensure a safe place to rest first. After all, it's not a day, but 3 days. But, Zhong Yuan is no longer a normal person. He doesn't need to sleep or eat. During the summer vacation, I specially did an experiment at home. I didn't feel tired even after 10 consecutive days of sleepless nights. There is no need to find a place to sleep, just go and kill the aliens. On the way, Zhong Yuan also met a few classmates. They were going to follow the main road to the service station in the mountain scenic area to find a place to stay. When they saw Zhong Yuan, they didn't even say hello, but instead quickened their pace and left quickly. Zhong Yuan didn't forget that the Su Nengzhe team was organized into groups of 6. The team just now had only 4 people, and they could have pulled me into the team, but they looked at me and deliberately avoided me. Why? At this time, doesn't one more person mean more strength? The surroundings are very safe, and there are no signs of aliens appearing. From the main road to the service area on the mountain should be a safe area in the Fangjie. The reason they avoided me is that I was likely to be targeted by another team. They felt that there was no need to conflict with that team for me, so they walked so fast. In just a few minutes, Zhong Yuan had some guesses. He didn't forget Feng Qing's suggestion. There is limited food and bullets. It is normal to rob classmates. Once you enter the Fangjie, life and death are determined by fate. Who will be a good boy and share the same hatred with you? Zhong Yuan sneered, gave up the main road, and took a small path to go up the mountain. This path was opened by an unknown predecessor. It is rugged and difficult to walk. It is almost straight up. Ordinary people will be out of breath after walking for a short time. Zhong Yuan took out the saber, cut off a thick branch as a trekking pole, and climbed up step by step. Not long after he walked, several figures appeared at the bottom of the path. Looking at the difficult path, they hesitated. Wang Meng, did that kid find us? He suddenly changed direction and took the difficult path. There are a total of 5 people in this temporary team, 4 of whom are the watch-smashing warriors mentioned by Feng Qing. After learning the function of the watch, they realize that the situation was not good. Without a watch, they can't find teammates, so they have to stick together. There is another person, who is also an unlucky guy who didn't understand Feng Qing's rules for freshmen, thinking that the watch was broken. He kept cursing the school, but Feng Qing deliberately shocked the battery to half. For them, getting a watch with sufficient power was more important than finding a place to spend the night. If time dragged on for a long time, people would disperse or form small teams, and it would be difficult to start. Wang Meng noticed Zhong Yuan on the transport plane. He was not sociable and looked weak, and seemed easy to deal with. After entering the Fangjie, he really didn't find anyone to form a team. This kid is the top prey. Looking at the straight upward path, Wang Meng sneered, this road also leads to the safe area on the mountain. It just saves time for people and can grab a good place to rest first. Let's speed up and take the main road. Try to intercept him before the kid reaches the safe area. Brother Meng. We listen to you. That the other few people looked up to Wang Meng, whoever came up with the idea, whoever took the responsibility. If they were to investigate afterwards, they would all blame Wang Meng. Several people ran quickly to the main road, but they didn't know that their actions were all heard clearly by Feng Qing. How could they let the freshmen into the Fangjie without taking some precautions? If they waited to send out a distress signal and then went to rescue, it would be too late. Lu Wen brought Feng Qing with her so that he could monitor the movements of the freshmen through his watch. A temporary communication station was set up at the foot of the mountain in Fangjie. Feng Qing was wearing sunglasses and sitting in front of the monitor. When he heard that Wang Meng and others were going to block the students, the corners of his mouth twitched. Here they come. Lu Wen told the freshmen not to attack their classmates, but she only said that they could not kill people. Not that they could not rob things. Dramas like the mantis stalking the cicada and the oriole behind are staged in the Fangjie of Ximen Mountain every year, especially on the third day. The battle was the most intense, and it was common to compete for Shujing. As long as you ask the old students a little, you will know that this military training is the only chance for freshmen to get Shujing in the first semester. In the Ximen Mountain area, a species of alien called frost snake was released. It is not difficult to kill, but the quality of the ruin crystals it produces is extremely high, and it has 4 rare abilities. Super perception, randomly improves one physical ability. Ice condensation, freezes objects within a certain range for 10 seconds. Regeneration, slowly repairs physical damage. Death immunity, immunizes one death crisis when near death. Either of them is very practical, especially the death immunity. Although it can only be used once in a lifetime, there is no doubt that as long as you absorb this ability, it is equivalent to having an extra life. After some powerful ruining people have one or even several main abilities, they will consider absorbing another frost snow snake ruin crystal to try their luck. However, this snake is only found in Ximen Mountain. To get its ruin crystal, you must either go through the formal procedures of the military or participate in the freshman military training of Chengying College. On the black market, a frost snow snake ruin crystal can be sold for up to 100,000 yuan, most of which are sold from the students in military training. Chengying College does not adopt the gu-raising education method, and to a certain extent, it also encourages students to compete with each other. Competition between students can stimulate potential to a greater extent. Resources are limited. How can you become stronger without competition? The moment you enter the Ximen Mountain Fangjie, the competition begins. The college's requirement for freshmen is, at least get a ruin crystal. The more the better. There is no upper limit. If you have the ability, it is no problem to kill all the frost snow snakes in the mountain. Wang Meng and his team decided to rob Zhong Yuan's watch, which was a very wise decision. The sound waves of the watch can repel the frost snake. By using this function in battle, it is completely possible to kill alone. Without the watch, the difficulty of hunting is greatly increased. After monitoring for a while, Feng Qing found that Zhong Yuan had no companions around him, and he couldn't help shaking his head. I told him to be careful and not to be robbed, so why did he go alone and didn't even find a companion? In this case, I can't help it. Feng Qing seemed to have seen Zhong Yuan's tragic end of staying in the safe zone and getting nothing until the end of 3 days.